All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday to all. Hello. My name is Liam, and I'm one of the teachers at Myers Meravigli, and I live here in Milan, where I've lived for the last 2 years. I'm originally from Manchester in the United Kingdom, and with me today, we are all very lucky to have
Seth. My name is Seth. Also a teacher at the Meravigli School in downtown Milan. There you go. Here we are.
Absolutely. And Seth, you're from the USA, aren't you?
I am, yes, from Ohio.
Yeah, so lucky you guys. You're getting an Anglo-American flavor of English today. So welcome to everyone from wherever you are, from wherever you are in Italy, but I also know we've got people from Spain, and we've got people from France as well. So you can see at the bottom, we really want you guys to introduce yourselves. So we want to know who you are, where you're from, and in fact, one early bird, one eager beaver has already introduced himself. Good morning, I'm Luca from Bologna. Well, good morning, Luca. Very nice to meet you. Just to encourage people, I'm just going to put up a bit of my own information here so you can see. For example, my name's Liam. I'm 30 years old, although after this quarantine's over, I'll probably look about 40 years old. I don't know how this is gonna wreak havoc with our bodies and our immune systems. I wonder, how the health advice wisdom of keeping everybody inside when they're supposed to be keeping us healthy, right?
I've noticed that I'm becoming probably it's exaggerated because I have time to stare at myself in the mirror, but I feel like I'm becoming like pear-shaped, like everything is sliding down.
Oh dear. Oh,
like I just feel like I'm getting not really because I'm a skinny person, but just my midsection is not.
Yes, you're very slim, Seth.
I could do with a few sit-ups.
Well, okay, but Seth, just because we can maybe keep things maybe a little bit lighter today. And sorry, I just need to. My computer does this very irritating thing where it switches its keyboard to English every time I turn it off, and then I have to switch it back to Italian because our keyboards are different. Seth, what did you mean when you said that you're going a bit pear-shaped? This is a good one. This might be a good one for everybody post-quarantine.
Yeah, well, this has to do with probably our culture, our English culture is quite a bit more body obsessed in many ways. And maybe women, but not just women, but tend to describe their bodies by shape. And the two that I'm thinking of now, well, pear shape. So the pear that's skinny at the top, but then at the bottom gets fat. And so I feel like this is happening to me.
Yeah.
Don't they talk about like hourglass as well? So
yes,
like wide at the top, skinny
that's
in
right.
the middle, and then sort of widening out again.
But that's positive, isn't it? Pear-shaped negative, hourglass positive, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you as well, Seth, just on our kind of Anglo-American thing, because in the United Kingdom, if you have a plan and that plan goes very wrong and lots of things go wrong, we often say in English, for example, it's all gone pear-shaped. Do you say that in America to indicate that something has gone wrong or something's gone off the rails?
No, we often say it's gone south.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because in English you can. It's gone south. Yeah. So in English,
and I don't know exactly why south is so bad, but I don't know what south refers to in particular.
Well, does it just mean it's gone? Does it literally just mean it's gone down and down is bad?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll say it's all gone pear-shaped. We can say, I'm going to type this out because these are good little idiomatic expressions.
Yeah, for sure.
Or in the US,
I don't know that.
It's all gone. Yeah, I don't. It only just occurred to me that it must be a British English thing. We say, it's all gone pear-shaped. And It's a funny one. I think because it just means, it's not all uniform. It's gone wrong. The shape is incorrect. It's not consistent, for example. It's all gone pear-shaped. It's all gone south. Hello to, who have we got here? We've got Paula. I think, Seth, you highlighted these a second ago.
Paula.
Valeria. Very nice. Quadranti. What a great name. Is that like Valeria Painting or something, like basically that last name?
It is a nice name.
It is a nice name.
We have 12 people watching us, though. So everyone else, there are a lot more people out there. Tell us who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, guy. We see you. Exactly.
More or
we
less.
see you. We see you lurkers. You guys lurking, not telling us your names. All right. So money, 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 money. To quote Madonna. Okay. It's never too early.
Oh.
Never too early for a bit of Madonna. I'll happily admit that I love a bit of Madonna.
For me, it was ABBA. Money, money, money.
Yes,
Must be
honey in a rich man's world. See, guys, just 10 a.m. There's always energy here at My Year's Meravigli. And I should just say that this isn't even coffee. This is tea. I've already. Oh, Valeria's just confirmed. Oh, it means clock face. Oh, how interesting. A clock face. Thank you, Valeria. Well, that's a new Italian word for me, actually.
It is for me as well. Thank you.
Quadranti. Interesting, because 4 sides. I guess, the big town hall clocks, I guess, have 4 faces, don't they? Very good. Hello. Who have we got as well? We've got Gisella. I always like that name. Gisella from Genoa. That's a nice name. And Julia from Milan. Hello, Julia. Very nice.
Hi, Julia.
This is great. Do we know Julia?
You and I don't know. Julia, which school are you from in Milan?
Oh, yeah, that's true, guys. Yeah, if you're from Milan, if you're from one of the schools in Milan, remember we have 3. So please tell us, because, Seth, at our school, we have 800 students, 900 students.
900. Including all the outside students.
So guys, please don't be offended if we don't always immediately recognize you. We've got lots of Julias, for example. We've even got some Julias on staff. So
yes.
Okay, so Seth, what are we doing today in this focus activity? What are we focusing on?
So, money, money, money. We are discussing our attitude toward money. So, how do we feel about money?
Mm-hmm.
Everyday vocabulary and phrases related to money. That's a fun part of this lesson, I think.
Yeah.
And then the sayings and the proverbs about money. Everyone has, I think every language probably has a lot of stuff to say about money.
Yes.
So, a nice lesson. The stuff we use pretty often. So
absolutely, because I think this is a very vocab heavy lesson, but it's all vocab that we definitely use in real life. It's definitely real English. Just a few more. Paula is from Filzi. Hello, Paula. Nice to meet you. This is Madro. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm saying
Mauro.
Oh, it's the other way around. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I do need more coffee.
Mauro.
Anna Maria, she's from Filzi, and she says, thank you for your lesson. That's very kind of you, Anna Maria. Valeria, clock faces. I love that. She's from Como, but I live in Milan.
And Julia is from our school. She's one. I bet if we saw Julia Martinelli, we would recognize her. I'm sure we would. Sorry, Julia.
Sorry, Julia. It's faces, I think. But I think Seth, she's already very kindly saying that she understands that we got a lot of people. Yeah. So let's jump right in. Okay, with an opening question that I think will get a lot of responses and get a lot of people contributing. Is it possible to have too much money? So Seth, you come from the richest country in the world. The richest country, the richest. No, it's just, you come from the richest country in the world, the richest country in the history of the world, in fact. And before you, I came from the richest country in the world. You and I are both as Ricky Gervais once said at the Golden Globes, I'm from England, the little country that used to run the world before you guys did. So Seth,
Mm-hmm.
we both come from rich countries, which have many rich people in them. We think of people like Jeff Bezos in America, the richest man in the world. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Michael Bloomberg. In the UK,
Oprah
we've got
Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, is Oprah? Oprah's a billionaire, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she's one of the richest women in the world. Maybe not
Yeah,
the richest, but one of. She's very, yeah.
yeah. She's the richest. I mean, she's certainly the richest African American. I think
Oh yeah, for
person,
sure.
not
For
just woman.
sure.
I think she's the richest African American person in the world, which is pretty incredible for a person who is essentially a talk show host.
Yeah, she's done well.
She's done pretty well. And in the UK, we've got people like Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Corporation. We've got Philip Green, who owns the Arcadia Group, and that includes, for example, Topshop, the Topshop clothing store. So, Seth, what do you think? Is it possible to have too much money? Is that? I mean,
Well,
it's kind
I
of a
think that
philosophical question.
Yeah, and I tend to look at it that way because I do not have a lot of money, and because of my own experiences in life, I mean, of course, I don't, I don't. How do you say? Like, I'm not greedy for money at all. um, I have money because I need to buy things, but I and maybe it's because I'm from a country where there is so much money and in a world that's changing in many ways, but like I I see money do lots of bad things to people. Greed.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the side. I'm probably about to take this conversation to a different place, but like
No,
the
do it.
idea of I have this conversation with my mother quite often, actually, because my mom, being from another generation than me, my mom is like very pro capitalism, pro, make your own way with money, and I'm
Yes.
not. And and I guess because like you said, the United States, the richest country in the world, but on the backs of who?
Wow.
And
Very,
so
very well put, Seth. Very, very true.
and so I mean, money makes the world go round, as we say. Money is important, but I don't know, like to me, this maybe in a philosophical sense of too much money. I think that you can have too much money if it prevents you maybe from doing the right thing with it, And someone like who was the Microsoft guy who has, I think, done a good thing by
Bill Gates.
the foundation. Bill Gates, like showing that a rich person who has an unimaginable amount of money can maybe do something good with that money, and other very rich people are also starting to use their money. I mean, it's more money than a person needs, than a person can use during a lifetime. So why not? There are people who have no money, like literally no money.
Yeah,
And
I think that Bill Gates is. I think it's called the Billionaire Pledge, which I think Bill Gates possibly started, which is a global initiative to encourage billionaires to pledge. And pledge means to promise something. It usually means to promise to give something, but not always. Basically, they say that when they die, the overwhelming majority, 90% of charity, will go to charitable causes. So people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, etc. These multi-billionaires, other people like I'm trying to think, Carlos Slim, the telecommunications, he's one of the richest people on earth. Right. They're all saying that, okay, so they it's like almost like you sign it, and you say, when I die, this percentage of my money will be given to these different charitable groups. But you made a very good point, Seth, about, the United States is such a rich country, but we know it was built on the backs of, in particular, black slave labor. There's barely a federal government building in Washington that wasn't built on the backs of slavery. And as well, the working people of America. I mean, Seth, I think, your ancestors would have come to America from, did you say from England, possibly? You a bit of family history?
I did for Christmas, I had a present of that DNA test where you like brush your teeth and send your spit. And I discovered, it was really interesting, actually. I discovered that most Americans have some connection to England because of the history of the United States.
Sure.
I know that my mother's family is quite very French, Quebec, because they're all living in Quebec. My dad's family was always a bit more of a mystery, but as it turns out, I have 0% British blood.
Oh, so, I'm so sorry, because you'd have made such a fine Englishman.
I am. As an American, I was very proud to not be British. But no, like all northern, like Burgundy, Brussels, like Holland, mostly. It was like 98% northern, like this northern part of like what would have been Burgundy, and like then a tiny bit of. Like it was 98%, which is goodness,
huge.
That's everything. And then the other little pieces, there was like a sprinkling of Iberia, Spanish stuff, a sprinkling of Balkan, and a sprinkling of Scandinavian. But all of those three within the last 2%. I mean, so I am a lowland European, yes.
How interesting. Well, do you know what, Seth? That would make sense.
It was really cool.
Those of you who have met Seth will know that he's a tall person. And if any of you have been to the Netherlands, you'll know that the tallest people in the world come from Holland. So that is very interesting. I mean, guys, we'll get to your answers in a moment because a lot of you have responded to that, which is terrific.
Yeah, there's nice things.
Yeah, we'll get to those. I mean, I would just say that I do think it's possible to have too much money because I think it's usually, the argument being, are billionaires good for society? In terms of what they contribute. And my short answer, we don't have time to get into it now, is no. I don't think it's good for a society to have too much wealth concentrated too much at the top. Because of the relationship between money and power, because then before you know it, these billionaires can outvote any congressman or any member of the British Parliament, for example, just by, spending money, buying advertising, for example. It's a bit plutocratic eventually. It's too much power concentrated in the hands of a minority. Not that they can't. I mean, Seth gave the very good example. People like Bill Gates, I think, no one could argue that Bill Gates has not benefited the world with his Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And in fact, that foundation is currently one of our best hopes for finding a vaccine to the current coronavirus pandemic. They're devoting a lot of time and resources.
And he's certainly an exception who hopefully is moving other very rich people into thinking this way.
Yes, I think he's basically trying to shame people.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Luca is pretty clear. There is no limit to, very clear. But Luca, we say there's no limit to having money. If you say there's no limit to, we use the gerund form. And then Paula, I like this answer. I'm trying to manage my wedding with an old rich man, but for the moment I have to
Nice, Paula.
Very good, Paula. But Paula, you would say manage my wedding to an old rich man, because if you say with, it sounds like you and the old rich man are organizing the wedding together. So it's possible. Yeah. It's a little different, but it does actually alter the sentence. Manage with means
you could also use maybe arrange. I'm trying to arrange my wedding. Either
Absolutely.
verb could work. It just depends then on
Yeah,
the prepositions we use and such.
absolutely. It's just sometimes, isn't it funny? These little prepositions can have such an impact on the sentence. Gisella says, "Oh yes, it's possible. It's a pity. I think she means those who have a lot of money want more and more, who can already do everything." And very good, Gisela. And this comes back to greedy, the idea of greed.
Mhm.
I think Fabrizio,
Greed. Yeah.
what's he say? In my opinion, it is not. It's not possible to have too much money because everyone's trying to have more and more every day. So it means that is never, we say, I think, going to be enough. Maybe we mean to
Oh,
say.
that's a sort of a different idea too. So,
Mm,
yeah. I find it, I guess, in my culture, and also because like I've lived in several different countries that have had very different. Like I lived in China for 3 years, where the Chinese look at money very differently. I lived in Bangladesh, where there is no money. I think that's probably where some of my views come from, because in Bangladesh, it's one of the poorest nations in the world,
yeah.
and the people are extraordinarily happy. And there is there isn't a lot of money, but people still buy with the things they produce. And so you had exchanges of goods rather than exchanges of money. And I'm not saying, I mean, money is it's an important, it's an easier way to exchange goods for sure. But I don't know, like it changes the focus from having this money rather than, like I produce this thing and I'm giving you the thing I've produced. It's just a very different way of working. And I think this gets into industrial revolution and all kinds of things.
Well, yeah,
But the
yeah.
idea that, what does your money represent? And essentially your money represents time. And
Mm.
so, but if I have the pasta that I've made with my hands and you have the sauce, why do we need to have money in between? We can just switch. And I try, and that's how in Bangladesh, how things often are. And I try with some of my friends, and even in the past, I've had students, private students who I've taught, who didn't always pay me with money when they could offer me something that I needed to buy anyways.
Oh, really?
I had one woman. Yeah, I had one woman who she didn't have a lot of money, and she cooked all the time, and she paid me with food. And I didn't
Okay.
mind. I mean, at the end of the lesson, she would give me usually a big, like a thing, like a container that was dinner for 1 or 2 days, sometimes even 3 or 4.
Where was this?
Yeah,
Sorry,
so she'd give
Seth.
me something. This was in the United States.
Right. That's very sweet.
Yeah, and I thought, I have to. She's saving me time. I don't have to cook. She's giving me food, so there's money that she's invested in the food. So, why not?
I think
And it was good, so I didn't care.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine in some cases, for example, here in Italy, especially, if someone said to me, "I'm going to pay you in, pesto or
Prosciutto.
amatriciana,"
Yeah,
or
exactly.
I mean,
No problem.
I mean, if I think it's true, because if you think about how much of your income is spent on food, why not just cut out the middleman and go straight to it?
Yeah.
Valeria has a good answer. She says,
Mhm.
of course it's possible. And this is about having too much money. But I think that the more money you have, the higher is the risk to lose. So, Valeria, we actually say the higher risk to lose it. Because in English,
Mhm.
money is uncountable, which is ironic because, all we think of is counting money. But money as a collective noun, money is uncountable. So we would say it.
Mhm.
All right. Seth, do you want to go over some of these money-related phrases just while the students have a look at them too?
Yeah, sure thing. First I'll read them so that they have, and at home, yeah, if you guys want to start matching up some of what you see on the screen, I'll give them
Yes.
a read. So, it costs a fortune. It's a bargain. Splash out on. He's broke. Treat yourself to. And he's generous. I'll read the other ones because these are also more. So the red ones, more idiomatic things. Save
Yeah.
up for. It's dirt cheap. Deprive yourself of. He's really mean. He's really tight. He's rolling in it. It's not worth it. All right. So what are we doing? We're matching opposites.
Yes, we're not doing synonym phrases here, guys. We're talking about opposite phrases.
Opposites. Yeah. So if it costs a fortune,
Yes,
a
because I'll
fortune
take.
is
I'll
a
have to.
huge amount. But yeah, a fortune is a huge amount of money. So the opposite needs to be something that is not a lot of money, and that is it's dirt cheap. B, because dirt is the earth. So maybe when you go, like the word dirty, if you think of the word dirty, the adjective dirty comes from the noun dirt. Dirt is like that, the dust, the powder from the earth, the dry earth that you get on yourself. So dirt cheap, that
Yes.
stuff's everywhere. So
very good.
All right. Shall I continue, Liam?
Well, how about we can just do one and one? We'll just do, I'll do one, you do one. Is that all right?
Yep.
Perfect. So number 2 says it's a bargain. So that's the pronunciation there. It's a bargain. And a bargain in English, this means when something is of usually good quality or high quality, but the price is quite low. So it would be if you found, for example, an item of clothing or maybe a food product that is of high quality, and usually you would expect it to be very expensive, but in fact it's actually quite cheap. Okay. And then so the opposite okay would be, if you see here, it's not worth it, because what that means is that something is so expensive but of quality where if you spend all the money, you're not really going to get much use or value out of that object. Okay, so it might be, for example, let's say you want to go into a nightclub here in Milan, and they tell you that it's 50 euros just to get in. And you think for a minute and you think, well, I'm probably only going to dance a little bit, maybe have a drink, but then that's it. Is that worth 50 euros just to go into this nightclub for a few minutes, dance with someone, have a drink, and then go home? No, it's not worth it.
I'm going to look at the next one. So to splash out on, which I think is very British because I do not use splash out on.
We do. We definitely do.
I would use the word splurge, which is kind of an interesting. I don't know. Do you guys use splurge?
We do. Yeah, we use that too.
So I would splurge or splash out. So splashing out is when you sort of, well, at least if it's similar to splurge, I think it is. Like, so splurging to me is like when you maybe you have the money to buy something, you don't necessarily need the thing that you go to the store, you see a beautiful jacket and you like this jacket, you don't necessarily need the jacket, but you're like, I'm gonna buy the jacket. And so you buy the jacket and you splurge.
Yeah.
You have the money, maybe you don't absolutely need it.
Absolutely, we're all guilty of that.
And so the opposite is would be so not buying the thing that maybe you want. So you're saving for something. So it's a little to save up for. So saving is when you're waiting.
Well,
and you're waiting to buy a thing.
No, I think your explanation was perfect, because like you said, about the idea is that you spend an enormous amount of money on usually one thing or a small amount of things. And I think it's also, sometimes it almost suggests that you can't really afford it, that you shouldn't be doing it. I don't
Yeah.
know, because it's a bit like, you said about you want a new jacket. Maybe you actually do need a new jacket, but do you
Mhm.
need that really, really expensive one? Or could you just buy something a bit cheaper and you think to yourself, no, I'm going to splash out on something special?
What's the splashing out? Because with splashing out, I picture like a container with water, and so the
Mm.
splashing out, the water's going outside. So is it the idea that you are going outside of what maybe you should be doing?
I think it's possibly that, and also I'm just trying to think about what the metaphor is. It could also be that to splash is to create a disturbance. So it could be that you spend so much money that it creates
Yeah.
this ripple effect in the economy, for
Yeah.
example. I mean, for example, it's not exactly the same, but if you think about what governments around the world are doing right now in response to the coronavirus, where basically they're just, pumping hundreds of billions of
So
pounds
much money, yeah.
yeah. I mean, for example, in the UK last night, it was announced that um, if you work for a company that is currently losing business because nobody can go to your restaurant or to your shop, the government have told the employers, the bosses, that if you keep your workers on staff, if you keep them as employees, the government will pay 80% of their wages, and you only
For
need
how
to pay
long?
to at least 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they are. We can talk about governments are splashing out on their spending
Okay.
in order to keep the economy going.
Yeah, I think with the word splurge that I was using, like the example that I would give with splurge is like maybe when you receive like, well, in Italy they have the tredicesima, which in my country we don't have, but when
Mm,
you receive extra money, or maybe for some reason you have a paycheck that's bigger than the normal paycheck,
or a
so you
tax
kind of
rebate.
yeah, and I see down below we have treat yourself, which maybe would be more similar to splurge, but the idea of I have this money and I want to buy something, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to go buy this thing. I see that over Paula used the word waste, and I wouldn't say that it. I don't know if splashing out or splurging wouldn't necessarily be wasting, because wasting sounds like you've made a bad purchase. Wasting
Yeah.
money is you've lost that money. You bought something you really didn't need to buy.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with two things you said, Seth. One is that splash out on and treat yourself to are similar, not exactly the same, but very similar. So I agree with you
Mhm.
about that. And yeah, what you say about waste, because waste is this thing where you spend money when it's not necessary. So it's in winter, for example, when you have your heating turned up high and then you leave a window open. That's wasting money, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
That would be. And in fact, we say in England, for example, when people do things like that, say, especially older people, when they reprimand you for leaving a door open or leaving a window open, and they'll say, oh, you might as well burn £20 notes to keep yourself warm. That's
Yeah.
quite a common expression in the UK. Okay, I'll take this next one, number 4. So
Yeah.
he or she or we or they, etc., is or are broke. And broke basically means that you have no money. Okay, it means that
Mhm.
your financial situation is extremely bad. It can be used to describe a person, a group of people, like a family, a business, even a country. If a country's finances are in a particularly perilous state, we can talk about that country being broke. And it means to have no money. Sometimes not literally zero money, but it means that, for example, maybe you can't afford to pay your mortgage, you can't afford to pay your rent, you're finding it difficult to buy food, for example. So it's a very bad, very sad situation. So the opposite is this one, which is to say that he or
Ooh.
she or they is or are rolling. So rolling is this, like exactly Seth and I instantly. Yeah, rolling in it. And this is the idea that you have so much money that you can almost take all of the cash, lie it down on your bed, for example, and just luxuriously roll around. Yeah, I can't wait to watch this one back on YouTube. Roll around in your money, almost bathing yourself in your money. So again, we talked before about these rich people, like for example, Mike Bloomberg. We would say Mike Bloomberg is rolling in it. Okay, he has a huge amount of money.
Yeah. The next one, to treat yourself. So a treat is like a little sweet, like a dessert. So if you treat yourself, you are giving yourself a little dessert. In this case, it could even be applied to food, but it's when we buy ourselves something maybe to make us feel good, or you've done a good job on a test or at work, and you want to buy yourself a little gift. And so the opposite would be not giving yourself something. So it would be to deprive yourself. So sometimes when it happens actually right now. There's the potential for many of us in the next month or two to have maybe smaller paychecks than normal. And we are going to perhaps need to deprive ourselves of certain things.
Well, I mean,
when we choose to not give ourselves something.
Exactly. And I would say even the government is taking care of that for us, because they're depriving us of the ability to buy anything. It's funny. My parents have already, and Seth, maybe you've had this, but my parents have already been in touch with me to talk about, if you need money, it's okay. We understand that it's a difficult situation at the moment. And I said, actually, it's kind of okay, because I don't have anything to spend my money on. So this could end.
True. Yeah. So.
It's rent and food. But for example, treat yourself. I mean, I have an example. My girlfriend and I, we treated ourselves to some books, which we ordered online, because even though the shops are closed here in Italy, home delivery is still permitted. So the IBS, the Italian online book retailer, are still doing deliveries. So we just thought, if we're going to be stuck inside for a few weeks, we're going to need something to read. So we treated ourselves to some new books, for example.
Yeah, we did the same with board games. We got ourselves some board games.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a very good. Yes, Anna and I just got, with our Esselunga Punti, we got the little mini Trivial Pursuit that they're doing at Esselunga, which I'm using to practice my Italian in this period as well. Gisela, just before we do the last one, Seth, Gisela's given us. Now, this is always interesting to me. This use of color to indicate your financial situation.
Because this, to me, to be in the green in English means that you're making a profit. In English, if someone says I'm in the green, it means you're in a good situation. It means you're making money. Because we use then the opposite, to be in the red means that you're losing money. And I think even in the black means things are okay.
Yes, because green is used in a positive way. I mean, you can talk about having a green patch, for example. I mean, I'm guessing, Seth, does this refer to spring, like, things are it refers to
I think actually what this comes from is from the stock market. And when you think of because when you, at least at the New York stock market, when you see all of the the numbers, and when the
they're in
stocks
green
are
and
going
red.
up, the numbers turn green. When they're going down, they turn red. And if they aren't changing, they're black. And I think that's where it comes from. It's from the stock market.
Oh my God, Seth, I mean, I don't know if that's true, but that makes perfect sense. I can't believe it's taken me 30 years to learn that. That's the reason. Because the in the green part, because I mean, and I guess that itself comes from, because I do know that before digitalization, you would literally use red ink or black ink to write or to indicate your financial situation. So, but it's always it was confusing because Italians basically have the opposite system. Because I think, Seth, do you know when you're losing money in Italian, they say in the black? Is that right?
But in the black is when what we would say is like paying someone under the table. If someone in Italian, if someone pays you in black,
like the
it
black
means they're
market.
paying you without taking taxes. Yeah. Where we say
Ah.
paying under the table, the idea that the
Yeah.
money is being exchanged in a secret way.
Yeah, and
So-
we also maybe this again, Seth. You can tell me if you say this in America, but we also use this expression. We talk about cash in hand because the idea is that you literally give the person the money rather than going through the official channels to register it for taxation. Excellent. Okay, and the last one on our list is he's generous, and then the opposite is he's mean or this thing tight, because the idea of tight is this, the idea that the money is here, so you hold it like this and you don't want to let go. Okay, so if you say that, because mean has another meaning. Mean also means that someone is not nice. It means that they're unpleasant. Okay, but I think it's actually its original meaning. I think possibly it predates that. It meant that you were, if you think of the classic character Ebenezer Scrooge from Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, he's the archetypal mean, tight person, for example. Awesome. Okay, Seth, anything you want to add to that before we move on in just the last few minutes?
No, because maybe we have time for just like one of those quotes. The last part's pretty nice, so.
Yes, so.
Good job.
Yeah, if we just have a look.
I'd go on just to hear. These are,
Yeah, this part here, I think. Just maybe if we have time, maybe we can come back to that exercise.
One or two, yeah.
Yeah, just some of these are quite nice phrases. And again, it's interesting to find if in Italian, again, they have the same or variations on them. So I'll bring them up. And Seth, maybe just because I'm clicking through them, if you want to just start going through some of them.
Well, so the world go round. So the idea that the money that we are spending, there's sort of a cycle to money, that you have to spend money so a company can make more jobs. Money is making everything function. A penny saved is a penny earned. So this I would say to me seems like an older expression, but the idea that if I keep even a penny is 1 cent. So a penny is very small, but if I save it, I still have that penny. I have that money. So the idea that even a small amount of savings is a good thing. It's good to save your money. The third one, oh goodness, this could be a lesson. The third one. Business is the art of extracting money from another man's pocket without resorting to violence. So, the idea, oh goodness, marketing, the idea of I'm trying to get your money, and if I can get your money, then I've done business with you. Ooh.
Yes, but basically it's the civilized polite way that our ancestors would have killed each other to, steal money or steal resources, for example.
The best things in life are free. This one we hear often. So as a way of saying, this could be very well applied to our current situation in quarantine, finding ways to occupy yourself with the people you love who are with you, a moment on the balcony. We're going outside during our coffee after lunch. We go out on our balcony, have our coffee, try to pretend like we are outside. Well, we are outside, but a controlled outside. So
yes, I think it's
best things in life are free.
It's that whole MasterCard advertising campaign, isn't it? Do you remember a few years ago, MasterCard had that, for example, the family waiting at the airport, and it says, ticket from London to New York, $700. Then, having mum home for Christmas, priceless, for example.
Yeah. Those were really popular too. Everyone's like, "Oh, those are so great."
I think they must have worked very well because they made a lot of them. I remember there were many, many, many. If you go on YouTube and just maybe type in MasterCard priceless advertising campaign, you'll see a lot of these. That's very much
Yeah,
on the theme of the best things in life are free, number 4.
yeah, they were nice.
They were quite sweet,
Um,
very, very manipulative, but very sweet.
and now get our credit card and buy things.
Exactly. It's basically saying we hope that you remember the nice thing, not the $700 it cost to fly.
Yeah, right. Spend all your money so
Uh,
that you can spend a weekend with your family.
fighting at Christmas. Okay, let's see. Number 5. The only way not to think about money is to have a great deal of it. I very much agree with this one. This is basically saying that only people who don't have money think about it, because people who have a lot of money don't need to be preoccupied with thinking about where their next paycheck is coming from, how they're going to pay for something. It's a
Last
very
week of every month, I because I'm watching my bank account go down, 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 and the last week of every month, it's not an anxiety. I mean, I'm not freaking out, but I know that I'm more aware of what I'm buying the last week of every month.
Yes, you're thinking, is the store brand version of pasta acceptable? Yes, it is this
Yeah,
week. It is. Um,
yeah.
okay. Number 6, money often costs too much. So this is quite a good one. This is basically saying that sometimes for some people, it can be necessary to do bad or unpleasant things in order to make money. So by costs too much, we don't mean you have to pay money. It essentially means it costs you other things. Let's say, for example, that you're a very high-powered business person, and in order to make a lot of money and be very successful, it might be necessary, for example, to not see your family very much. Maybe it makes it necessary to travel a lot, to be in meetings a lot, to be on the phone a lot, and you lose time with your family, for example.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
I'll
yeah,
look at
sure.
the next one. So money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you the kind of misery you prefer. So money can't buy happiness is a really, really common thing that we say in English. Yeah. So then the idea that you can't. So yeah, the happiness. If we go back again to number 4, these related ideas: the best things in life are free. Money can't buy you happiness. But you can use it then to buy other things which aren't going to make you happy. So it would be the continual looking for happiness when in fact maybe you have happiness with you somewhere else, but your money is keeping you from seeing it.
But at least you can be in a nice house while you're miserable.
Exactly.
Anyone who's read F. Scott Fitzgerald knows about this, that you can be a bloated,
Yes.
alcoholic, suicidal person, but you can have a nice mansion in upstate New York while you do it. And the last one, Seth, you want to do this one just before we wrap up?
Yeah, the
This is a
real
nice
measure
one.
of your the real measure of your wealth is how much you'd be worth if you lost all of your money. This is very interesting. Yes. So sometimes, actually, I read that right now with coronavirus, with people being inside and away from their jobs, I've read a number of articles about how people, because they don't have their job, which is their money, which is their identity, they're recognizing that they don't know who they are, because they've lost this
A
thing
crisis
that
of
they're giving
identity.
so. Yeah, and so this would be the similar idea. So if you're putting so much of yourself into your money, into your job, into your belongings, into your things, if you took those things, who are you? And
Absolutely.
so
And
that there
also,
we leave you with that deep that deep idea you can think about.
definitely, time for more coffee. All right. Excellent. Wow. Okay, guys. So we got through a lot of vocab here, and we got some other, just a couple of contributions very quickly. Paula tells us in Italy, if you haven't got money in your bank account, it's red, but if you are, you're in the green.
Very strange for us.
I know, so strange for us. Eleonora says time is money. We say that too. Yeah,
time is money. Yeah,
we say
also in
that
English.
too.
Yeah.
Especially in business context, when you want to say you need to be working all the time, because if you're not working, you're not making money. All right, Seth, thank you very much. As always, it's been
Thank
an
you,
absolute pleasure. Thank you to all of you. Really good attendance for a webinar on a Saturday morning. Very impressive. And
Yeah,
thank you
good
to
job.
everybody who contributed. We really appreciate it. So guys, have a great weekend, such as it is.
See you next time.
Keep an eye out online for more activities, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.